We interrupt your regular programming for this breaking news here on KCAL News. Good evening, everyone. I'm Susie Sa. This is a pursuit of a stolen car, and we do believe that there's also two kids inside this car, making the suspect a kidnapping suspect, and that is what the law enforcement agencies are chasing right now. At this time, we know we are on the Pacific Coast Highway right now near Temesco Canyon Road in Pacific Palisades, going at about 45 miles per hour, which is not extremely fast, but considering they are on surface streets right now, it's unclear if anyone's out and about walking around this area, which is often the case. Of course, there's been construction through this area because of the Pacific Palisades fire, that had PCH actually shut down in multiple directions for months and months. And it looks like they are going at a pretty good clip right now. Again, police right now in pursuit of a kidnapping suspect. As you can see, at least two marked cars there behind this person. Right now, we don't have much information on how this all started or where this all began. We do know that there are possibly two children inside this car, as far as we know. And it's unclear if this is perhaps a parent who does not have custody and they actually took these children, or perhaps another circumstance where the car was parked, and we've also seen that too, where a person gets in not even knowing that there are kids inside the car and they take off with the car. We do have Dave Avila right now joining us. He is a retired LAPD sergeant. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Dave, what can you tell us about this so far? Just the fact that this is a kidnapping suspect.
But let me just clarify that real quick. I was just a police officer, a P2, but retired helicopter pilot. Yes, Susie, this is one that there's certain things that they're not going to be able to do now. They're not going to try a pit maneuver, obviously, since they know that there's two children inside. Mm-hmm. And not only are we looking at GTA, we're looking at child endangerment. And you're right, the way they're driving right now, very cautiously. Is that a relative that has the two children? We don't know. They're trying to find out right now. So this way, this will give us just more information on it.
So what's happening is the agencies who perhaps know who owns this car is trying to get a hold of the registered owner at this point, Dave?
Yes. Yeah, there's no doubt. They got the license plate number. They're going to run it and back at the station, they're going to be following up on this. So hopefully we'll find out soon exactly what's going on with this. But this isn't, we all know that this isn't our typical type of pursuit here. We're driving 40 miles per hour. They got two black and whites, lights and siren, but they refuse to pull over. So we'll just have to see what happens here. But like I said, in an incident like this, though, you're with the children on board, it changes the whole dynamics of this pursuit. You're not going to think about the pit maneuver, as I mentioned, maybe the spike strip if you can get up ahead and set something up. But, you got the sheriff's air unit overhead. So we'll just stay right on top of this thing, and hopefully it'll come to an end soon.
So, Dave, what are the different protocols that, might be in place right now with agencies as they coordinate what they're going to do with this person? Obviously, different levels of danger because not only the kids inside the car, it's unclear if they're armed even. So many different questions that are out there right now, making this, of course, very difficult for the police to even come up with the plan at this point, right?
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's so many things. You hit on one. We don't know if the suspect's armed, and we can't assume anything about this other than just be prepared for what we need to do. And that's all part of it. It's just staying with this suspect. So, we'll see what the incident commander wants to do with this. Yeah. Either the sergeant on scene or the watch commander back at the station. So it looks like we're going to start picking up some speed. That's what they're doing. The other thing too, Susie, is running that plate. They're trying to find out if there's any way, if it is, we don't know, but if it is family involved, if they can get the cell number to the individual driving this vehicle, and see if we can just kind of de-escalate the situation, just kind of slow it down a little bit, maybe talk to them, and try to get them to pull over.
You mentioned, Dave, that a pit maneuver, things like that, other stopping measures that we might be able to use during other pursuits. Not the case in this kind of pursuit because of the elevated danger with the kids inside, possibly inside this car right now. What else is being handled differently? What else are police doing differently because of the fact that there are children inside here, possibly?
What they'll do is they'll just have uh, just more units on it. It's kind of hard to say exactly what they have planned because I'm not sure. I haven't gotten word anything on what they're actually planning to do,
Sure.
other than just follow this vehicle in the meantime. If there is somebody, if they do happen to make contact, they may get one of the units that will be able to talk to them and see if they can just reason with them. But that's still up in the air too. We just don't have enough information right now, other than it's a stolen vehicle, and thank God we know that there's two children inside of it. So this way we don't, start trying to pit maneuver with them, the kids inside.
All right, we have Juan Fernandez joining us as well tonight here on KCAL News. In case you're just joining us, this is breaking news. We interrupt your regular programming for this kidnapping suspect pursuit. Police do believe two children are inside this car. And Juan, we're just getting the breaking news information right now that this is a male driver who is unknown to these children. We thought maybe it was a parent who didn't have custody that maybe picked these kids up and didn't return them to their mother, but that not seems to be the case.
Yeah, this
right
was
now.
my first thought too, Susie. It's a familial abduction, but as you mentioned, news into our newsroom here, breaking news is that the person who's driving this car is not known to the children, so you can only imagine. My next thought is, was this taken from a gas station? Perhaps the mom or the dad was inside the mini mart picking something up. The kids were in the car. This person saw a crime of opportunity, jumped in the car, and took off. So now we have a situation where we have children being endangered. This looks like it's on PCH right now. A very, it's the holiday weekend. It can be very busy traffic right now. But as our John Schreiber in the helicopter was showing us, just the amount of police cars behind this unit right there. And Dave, thank you so much again for being with us. Dave Avila, who's often with us on nights like this when we have a pursuit. I mean, this is just incredible, right? You're talking about two kids in the car. Susie had already asked what changes when you know that there's two children in the car. My guess is that a lot of the techniques that you use to end a pursuit are basically out the window, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And then it's now that we know that the suspect driving this vehicle is not known to the children. You can imagine the terror. I don't have the ages on the children either, but either way, it doesn't really matter because it's still kidnapping, child endangerment. It just goes on and on with this type of pursuit. And yeah, I mean, it throws a whole different dynamic on it as far as procedures to pull somebody over.
And my guess is, Dave, is that driver, basically the carjacker, didn't realize these kids were in the car until he took off. And by that point, it's basically too late. So he just kept going, right?
Yes. If that's the case, in fact, yeah, he might have just, like you said, could have been, I think Susie mentioned it could have been at a gas station. The person goes inside to pay. This individual jumps inside of it and just punches it, goes, and then hopefully realizes that he does have, or she has two children in the back. So it could be that situation. I mean, it's so many things that we're thinking of, but all that has to be in consideration as to far what type of technique we're going to use to stop this individual.
Well, as a retired LAPD pilot, Dave, I mean, you know the protocol from the sky, when they're going to be chasing this person, when they're going to be just, perhaps monitoring from the sky and keeping the units back. At what point would we possibly see that happening?
Once we get up a little bit further, it'll just be a part. It's, like I said, it just throws everything off now that we have the children inside. Now, as far as the air unit, they may, one thing, they won't pull the units off because of the kidnapping in progress. That they will not do. The air unit will stay overhead. They're going to broadcast everything that's going on. They may be talking to units that are a mile ahead just to see if maybe they can slow traffic down. It's just, they'll just, you have to reach inside your bag of pursuit tricks and just start looking for something that you can do. And this has been practiced before at during the training. But once you get into this real life thing, it gets pretty nerve-wracking.
And Dave, is one of those items in the bag of tricks perhaps maybe blocking the road further up the road, maybe perhaps a roadblock of some sort where, I mean, you're on PCH, other than turning around, there's really nowhere to go unless he takes a canyon road.
Yes, and it's in the LAPD pursuit manual about blocking, paralleling, blocking, that sort of thing. And it reads it's highly discouraged.
Really?
Which means, yes, you could do it. We've done it before. I mean,
now, why is that, Dave? Why is it highly discouraged? Because you would think you can create almost like a fake traffic jam, or just there's nowhere to go, so he'd have to stop.
That's true, but there's also a lot of things that we have to consider. You know, you have to consider the protecting the citizens also, because if that suspect gets out and starts shooting, it would get pretty ugly. But you know, one of the things we have to do is to protect and to serve, and that's how do we get this suspect to stop with the children, or maybe just stop and let the children out. But if you're going to block somebody, now, like I said, we've done it before, but it was an isolated incident. It was Hancock Park, and we had 2 black and whites, and those little tiny streets blocked it.
Right.
So the suspect couldn't go anywhere. So that was just total different dynamics in that case. So yes, can it be done? Is it allowed? Yes, but it's got to be certain situations. So this has so much more going for it than what I've seen done before.
And again, Dave, here we're getting a better look at the front of the car there. It may look like there's a small child or a small person in the passenger seat of the car there. So that's another thing. You were saying maybe if he pulls over and lets the children out, we don't know the ages of these children. So already this is child endangerment. This is kidnapping. Dropping the kids off at a random intersection could be worse.
And on the right side, what you're looking at is the car passing by live. Actually, from earlier, actually, we have a live picture from the ground, actually. One of our crews are on the ground there, getting those ground shots for us right there along PCH. And you can see those units. Actually, I counted 6 units, Dave, behind this car, 6 black and whites. I know usually in a pursuit, it's 2 to 3. Why is this different?
Circumstances that are involved. I think what it is once they get it stopped, they're going to have a different deployment. No, and you're absolutely right, Susie. You know, you have the primary unit, the secondary unit, the third unit is usually a supervisor. That's textbook. But you can always request more. You request more officers to be involved in the pursuit. The supervisor in charge of this, or the incident commander, could always say, okay, I want 3 more units involved in this. Remember, those black and whites may have only 1 officer. Not all the units have 2 officers. So that may be one thing that they're looking at.
And Dave, if he were to pull over right now and just, you know, give himself up, would the courts or police, I mean, would there be any sympathy for this guy? Because right now, the longer he keeps driving, the longer this is prolonged, and the longer these kids are being scared and just not good.
No, it would be, you know, they would handle it the same as any other pursuit, except but obviously with more caution. They would actually try to talk the suspect back out of it. If the suspect did stop and then get out of it, or did not want to get out of the vehicle, which doesn't look like it's going to be the case, they could always call a crisis intervention type officer to appear and to show up and then try to get this suspect just to give it up and just, you know, let the officers have the children.
Yeah, and you know, as Dave was talking about, as we've been mentioning, you know, the added fact that there are children inside this car making the biggest difference in this pursuit tonight, and how police actually handle this and try to bring this to an end. Obviously, as Dave was talking about, police don't want to relinquish this pursuit or give it up for any reason, because of the fact that there are kids inside, and we don't know, you know, I mean, they could be in danger right now. I mean, they are in danger just because of the fact that they don't know who this person is that is driving this car and has taken this car and has taken them with it. But, you know, obviously police are being very careful about what they can do because they are limited, especially with children inside, perhaps a child in the front seat even, as Dave was talking about, a pit maneuver that would push that car and turn that car around and somehow make it come to a stop. That would be very dangerous. That something could happen to the children in that case.
Are they even seatbelted? We don't know
right,
that either, right?
exactly. It's unclear. We don't know if this person is armed with spike strips that we often see with police. You know, they can actually go ahead of the pursuit and get into position, you know, way ahead of it, since we know that they have been traveling on PCH for such a long time. They could actually do something like that. But again, it's the danger to the children. You know, whatever you do to that car, again, the children are going to be in danger as well, not just this pursuit suspect.
And it's a holiday weekend, Susie. You would think traffic would be heavier. We just passed Pepperdine University right there. So, you know, he's going to be going through Malibu, eventually almost head into Ventura County if he keeps going. And if traffic is this light, he's going to be able to cover a lot of ground. And again, we don't know exactly where this car was originally taken from.
It's true, and how much gas is in it either. You know, that would be the most ideal situation right now if this car would just run out of gas and just have to pull over on PCH. You know, that would make things a lot easier, obviously, for police and the public and these children who are inside this car. I mean, Juan, you can just imagine, are they screaming? Are they, you know, yelling like, you know, help us? Are they, you know, acting calm because this kidnapper is telling them to do so? Are they being threatened?
Yeah.
You know, it's unclear at this hour.
You kind of wonder, is the kidnapper telling the kids, hey, it's going to be okay, nothing's going to happen? But again, it's a total stranger, unknown to these children. Dave, you're still on the phone with us, yes?
Yes.
Dave, question here. Of course, we're getting close to sundown here along the coast. Does the technique change once things get darker, a little harder for officers to see both on the ground and in the air?
More than likely, they're going to just stay with it because of the kidnapping situation.
Yeah.
You don't really want to just back off that. That changes that procedure. Air unit will definitely stay overhead. And they can always pass it off to Ventura PD, give them a call up ahead and say, hey, here's what we have. We need a bird overhead. Can you come and take care of it? Well, we drop into, let's say, Santa Barbara, get some fuel, and then pop back up in the air. But basically, they're going to stay with this thing. And as far as any type of other technique, it'll pretty much be all the same. A lot of discussion with the suspect if he ever does or she ever does stop. So there's just so many different types of incidents that you have to respond to. And everything in police work is react, though. You know, the suspect's acting, so we have to react to their situation, what they're doing.
So at this point, what are the options available to police in a situation like this, Dave, to stop this car?
I believe that's what they will do right now is just keep following it.
Yeah.
I don't see them, you know, it may be a spike strip. They may try that, you know, because it's the suspect staying on PCH. It's a long street. We all know that. So maybe they have somebody up ahead that may set that up. I don't really know if they would do that with children in the vehicle. So this is, you know, being a kidnap situation is changes everything. And the dynamics because they're children. Yeah, of course, that's huge.
And not knowing who this guy is either, Dave. In some cases, if it is a familial abduction or someone that the kids do know, parents could give a negotiator perhaps a phone number, a cell number to get in contact with this person. And this isn't the case. The kids don't know who this man is. We don't know who this man is. Possibly the mother of these two children, the owner of the car, has no idea who this man is.
Yeah, exactly. That's when, you know, you're referring to crisis intervention type people. Once they come in and they start talking to them, yeah, sure, that would be great if we could connect with this suspect. But the information we're getting right now is that, yeah, he's unknown to the children that are inside the vehicle. So, you know, how will we do that? I'm just happy that they're not speeding. They're not, you know, lately we've been seeing so many high speed pursuits. This one here, this suspect, you know, he's gone up to 90 miles per hour. This is the first time now he's actually, you know, he just seen that black and white.
He just passed.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost like they heard you, you know? They heard you talking about him driving faster and they just started picking up speed here. But
Yeah.
as Dave was talking about, this is the fastest we've seen them going down PCH, which is worrisome. We do talk about so many pedestrians being out on PCH on either side of the road all the time. And of course, the dangers that come along with that. You know, throw in a car that's being pursued at 90 miles per hour by police. I mean, certain presents a danger to everyone out there right now. But boy, they are flying down PCH right now. You know, want to talk about that spike strip possibly, you know, if they were to do something like that. Obviously, it is not easy to do. They have to be, the officers have to be well ahead of this car and
almost hidden too, right?
Exactly, and they have to hide in plain sight because of the fact that they have to throw these spike strips out across the street. And if they are in this lane right now, in the left lane, which is not ideal for this spike strip, of course, it's, oh no. They just crashed into a car going into that intersection, and now the car crashed into the other side on the curb there.
My God.
I mean, this is exactly what we're afraid of. You know, another innocent person.
Looks like, running.
Yep, they're running now. Out and running. It doesn't look like they appear to be injured at all. I don't know what happened to that other person, Juan, that was hit by them.
And look what he's doing. He's basically going up through the brush there. And it looks like there are officers right behind, so he should be in custody very soon. Again, now he's in a neighborhood, right? This is either
like
a
an
neighborhood
apartment
or
Yeah, it looks like an
complex.
apartment house.
Yeah.
And then plus you've got the officers now, no doubtly, are running to check on the children. They're requesting an RA unit, an ambulance to respond for it. You know,
He's
there's a
dumping his
suspect throwing his
clothes
shirt
too,
away
Dave.
like,
Did you see that?
He's going to disappear. Yeah, so the officers will stay on him. Remember the air units overhead. The suspect's not getting away. Air units giving them a direction, a description of the suspect, telling them exactly what he's doing, and that's what we just seen.
He looks like he's barefoot too, Dave. Can you see that?
It's true.
He's wearing like a camouflage shirt. He's already dumped a jacket. He's running through this field. This cannot be easy if he is barefoot. Do you think he's barefoot, Suze?
It looks like he is. And we just hope the children inside that car are okay after that crazy crash just now and this person leaving that car, leaving them. I imagine officers are with them right now, but as we keep our John Schreiber, our photographer, up in SkyCal on this shot right now, because it is very important as police try to apprehend this person.
Here's the replay again. Look at that
crash. It was a bad, bad crash. And
I hope the kids are okay. If those kids are in the car, hopefully they were seat belted and they're going to be okay. It looks like this guy is still running, Suze.
Through the brush here and trying to evade police, but you know, with eyes in the sky, that's very hard to do. Thank goodness it's not dark out there yet, quite just yet. They are climbing over a fence now and looking around to see if police are behind them. There were units behind this person that were with this person the entire time, so it's just a matter of time, I'm sure, before these units arrive and try to get this person. But as John Schreiber is doing a fine job keeping his shot on this person who is trying to get away from police.
That's barbed wire there, Suze, that he's trying to get up and over some barbed wire.
Felt
it's
that.
not
I
going to be
imagine
easy.
he's feeling that.
What he's doing
trying
right
to get
now,
through
or
it.
what
he's stuck now.
The tactical flight deputy's doing is the units are there, of course. What the air unit's doing is setting up a perimeter, like telling them exactly where he's going and getting the deputies surrounded and getting them around the area. That way they can eventually get inside there and get this suspect.
He's taken off more clothes there, Dave. Now he took off his shirt, so he's trying to make himself not look like he looked just a few moments ago.
But it also makes him more visible too, because the dark colored clothing, it almost, camouflages him more into the scene there in the forest among the trees there. But when he took that off, you can see him even better, right?
Yeah.
And to the viewers, we're watching the suspect, but I guarantee you that they have the RA, the ambulance is responding to the vehicle, the officers are with the children. They are being taken care of. So we're just focusing in on this bad guy here.
Absolutely. And, that's, one of the reasons Dave was saying that there were so many units responding to this. Normally during a chase, a pursuit, we usually just see 2 or 3 units behind this person. But today we saw 6, and that is for the aftermath of what happens after the car chase portion, after the person bails out of the car. Of course, there were children in there. Some of the officers are going to be tending to them. The other person who was hit by this person before they fled from their vehicle, from the stolen vehicle that they were in. Obviously, a lot of different little scenes that police are tending to right now.
According to our map tracker there on SkyCat, looks like he's in Point Dume. Earlier, Susie, right before the crash, I was getting some new information. Yeah. Apparently, this all started at 6:41 p.m. at Olympic and Rowan. This was in East LA, so quite a distance from East Los Angeles all the way to PCH to the coast. And now he's in this wooded area behind these homes here, just trying to get away. It looks like that's a small riverbed there that he's now walking into. He's dropped a jacket. It does look like he's barefoot. He just took off his shirt. Looks like a younger man, for what I can see. Doesn't look too injured, but he's still trying. He's kind of desperate. He's trying to figure out where he's going to go next.
He's definitely running out of breath and out of fuel there, and he's just trying to climb another fence to try to get away from the area that he was in, obviously. But you know, obviously police are going to catch up to this person. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, this is somebody's backyard, Susie. Look, he's jumping like this fence here.
Yeah.
The house there on the right, a very nice house there with the pool. You can see it, and there are some officers.
Okay, looks like all right, SkyCal over the car accident now. The car that was hit, and the car that actually was hit when he crashed, right before he crashed into that car that you see on the left side of your screen. Looks like...
and as Dave was saying, I could see some of the RAs right there. You can see them in the yellow coats with some medical...
And it looks like the CHP officers there with the car that had the kids in it. We haven't seen them.
Doesn't look like they've gotten the
pulling
kids out yet, though. That's kind of scary. I just hope the children are okay, but they're taking their time taking them out there. You know, you want to secure, make sure that they're okay before you even take them out. And as you were saying, also is that hopefully they had their seatbelts on.
Hope so, Dave. According to our photographer who's in the helicopter there, it looks like he did see the children moving in the car, so that's some good news. We're getting that information from our control room.
Absolutely. You know, you can only imagine just how these children must have been feeling this entire time. I mean, it's unclear how they are right now, but just during this entire pursuit and what has transpired just in the past 15 minutes or so, you know, that we've seen just some erratic driving, going really fast on PCH, picking up speeds, and then crashing into that car and then the curb, and that's where the car came to a stop, as you see right there on the right side of your screen where the CHP officer is standing right now. Hopefully these children are okay. We're hoping that they just pull them out of there, you know, just totally okay. I mean, I imagine they're very shaken from all what has transpired and not knowing.
A stretcher there closer to the car.
Okay, you know, they have no idea who this person is that was driving this car, which obviously you can only imagine what must have been going through these children's minds, Juan. I mean...
And hopefully the parents are being rushed to the scene there to comfort their children, who are now, it looks like we've got one stretcher there getting prepared to take one of the kids out. And it looks like there may be two officers there that are kind of squatted over the back of the car there. Hopefully they're getting a chance to move the kids around and get them the medical attention they need.
Yeah, you don't want to move somebody right away. So what they're going to do is let the paramedics get in there and stabilize them before they even think of taking them out of the vehicle. So that's one reason why they got the gurney there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a small child that he's holding.
Yeah, we're kind of keeping a faraway shot right now there, Dave, but it looks like there's a guy in a black T-shirt right next to the firefighters holding one of the young children in his arms, putting him on the stretcher, or her on the stretcher right now. And again, hopefully they're okay. Hopefully they don't have any major injuries, but we do see them moving. It looks like they're wearing a little red T-shirt. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the shame of it was that he had been doing 40, but once he had seen that one black and white off to the side, all of a sudden he thought, well, now I got to try and get away. He got it up to 90 miles per hour. And I think when he hit that vehicle, he must have been up around 70. I don't remember exactly. I didn't take a look at it, but I think he was doing around 60, 70 miles per hour.
Yeah.
You can see another stretcher being brought into the scene here. We're just getting word right now, that there might have been 3 children inside this car. We previously thought there were only 2 kids inside here. So it makes you wonder how all 3 are doing then. We only saw them bring 1 child out so far that we've seen. We do believe there was 1 child in the front seat Our photographer from SkyCal, he actually possibly saw a face in the front seat, in the passenger seat. So we do believe there might have been a child there as well, and then two perhaps in the back. So again, their conditions unknown at this hour. That's why we are keeping this shot pretty far back right now. And this all coming to an end here along PCH after a pursuit along PCH that all started in East LA along Olympic and Rowan, as Juan was mentioning a short time ago. The pursuit started there. It's unclear if the car was actually stolen there and that's when the chase was on, or perhaps if that's where officers tried to pull this person over and they didn't. It's unclear. We have a lot of questions tonight exactly how this person got inside this car in the first place. Were they at somewhere where this car was left on, which we often see, and then looks like they're bringing another child out right now. Again, we do believe 3 children were inside this car. So far, we have seen 2 on stretchers, and
just awful.
It's
just awful. We have the one on the backboard that's going to be the one that's closest to the ambulances right now. There's the other one that we saw being placed on a stretcher, and word that there may be a 3rd child as well. We still see a lot of CHP officers surrounding that car right now. So the extent of the injuries we do not know, but as our Dave Avila here was telling us, the car was going at a pretty brisk rate of speed, clipped that car in the intersection there on Point Dume Road. And not long after that, the suspect of this kidnapping and car chase basically took off and covered quite a bit of ground, taking off a jacket, taking off a shirt. Looks like he's barefoot. He's jumped over fences. He's jumped over areas that have barbed wire, all to get away. So we should be getting an update. Hopefully he's in custody by now. But now the focus really is on getting these kids the medical attention they need, and hopefully the parents to them as soon as possible.
Yeah, it looks like the person who was driving the white vehicle that was crashed into before the pursuit suspect crashed to their end right here at the mountainside here on the curb there. Looks like that person is okay and walking around, perhaps another passenger, a female passenger with them, but it looks like they are doing okay, so that's good to know as well. But again, 3 children inside this car as far as we know, and we've seen 2 children being brought out so far. So we don't know the condition of a third right now, so we're waiting for that. But as Juan was talking about, as far as we know, the suspect, he was on the run on the back side of this hill that you're seeing here is where he ran into. And we believe he was running into some of the backyard of those homes there and trying to evade police, climbing over fences and jumping into people's backyards. It's unclear whatever happened, but police were definitely going to catch up to him as well.
This could have all ended a lot differently if he would have just pulled over. Yes, he would have still been arrested, but these kids would be okay. And if you're wondering why we're keeping the shot so wide here, we don't know the extent of the injuries on these kids. We don't know how graphic it may be, so we're keeping it wide for their privacy as well, and just until we know the extent of the injuries, we really don't know what's going on here. So we've seen so far 2 kids being taken away, one on what looks like a backboard and the other one on a stretcher to those awaiting rescue units. And it looks like, Susie, that so far the units haven't left. So I'm guess is that they're stabilizing the kids, that the injuries are not life-threatening at this point.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that at this point, since they're not leaving in a rush here. But it does make me wonder, why they're not bringing out a 3rd child right now, which I hope it's not what I'm thinking. But again,
in a traffic accident like this too, you have to also consider the blunt trauma. I mean, just the thought of being in a vehicle and then getting slammed into. Luckily, this wasn't a T-bone type. The driver looked like you said, party 2, the victim in this traffic accident, was actually out and walking. Doesn't mean that they're not going to be hurting tomorrow, but yeah, it looks like they're staying around that the victim's vehicle. But I don't know. I think the way they're acting there, I think it is. I think we got them all.
Yeah, Dave, I think you're right. If you look at the back rear tire on the passenger side, it looks like there's a child in a car seat.
Yeah.
So that's some good news, because those car seats can do the job of keeping the kid safe. It looks the officers talking to the kid, the officer's on his knees. So 3 kids accounted for, 2 taken away so far on a stretcher, a backboard, and then the officer just trying to calm this kid, right? Just try to make sure that he's going to be okay. I'm sure he just can't believe his brother and sister, or his brothers, were taken away the way that they did. Just terrible.
Yeah,
Terrible.
I just can't even imagine tonight how shaken these children are, Dave.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's going to stay with them for a very, very long time, if not forever, when they think about what they just went through. Just the idea of having this unknown suspect driving them, and they're crying, screaming, and just wondering, what's going on. And then we know what about the suspect. The suspect did not care at all. He got in this horrific accident,
didn't
had
care.
3 kids in there, and took off running because he cares about himself and himself only. Just total disregard for any of the children. Let alone anybody else, a victim in a party to that other vehicle.
And Dave, it looks like we're going to be showing the that crash again, just how intense it was there on the right side of your screen. PCH,
Yes.
according to our map tracker, it was going about 65 miles an hour. And you're right, we're lucky it wasn't a T-bone. It looked like the force of the crash was to the front, but it kind of spun out a little bit. Again, we don't know if the kids were wearing seatbelts there.
Sure.
And there he goes, the suspect, still wearing most of his clothes except for shoes, takes off running into the neighborhood here.
It's true. And go ahead, Dave.
Oh, I'm sorry, Susie.
No, please.
And all the accidents that I've seen when working the streets and up in the air, it's the passengers that usually, not always, but usually take the blunt of the accident, because the driver is holding on to the steering wheel and knows what's coming up. But in this case, it's even worse because it's
It looks
the
like
children.
the baby that was in the car seat, Dave, is now being brought over to the ambulance as well by one of the firefighters out there.
Yeah, if you put your
good deal.
attention there, Dave, to that power pole there, the firefighter is taking the baby there to the back of the rescue unit there that's been waiting with his siblings. So the siblings now in the care of medical teams here. You can see the incredible damage to the car, and we're also being told that the suspect now in custody, Suze.
That's right. All 3 children accounted for and safe tonight. Their conditions unknown right now, but as we just saw, the baby, the final child, the 3rd child being brought out of the car and in that baby car seat there, and being taken in the back of the ambulance. Looks like they are still working on one of the children there. Perhaps
or the
tending to
driver
one
of the other car,
or
you
the
think?
driver, perhaps. It's unclear.
Yeah, I can't tell either.
Yeah. Dave, we're going to move our SkyCal shot there to where we believe the suspect is now in custody. We do know that they have 1 person, according to CHP, now in custody. So it took a while, but look at the amount of units there, Dave, that are in this community right there. They were not going to let this guy get away. And good news is, it looks like they have him in custody.
No, I mean, we're we got the uniforms on and the badges and the belt, but we're still fathers, sons, brothers, sister, so it gets a little personal. I mean, we stay professional, no doubt about it. But we are, we have a home life, and it's something like this. I mean, this is, I've handled so many pursuits. I've been in pursuits on the ground and then in the air, and didn't working with you folks. But when it involves children, it just really hits home. You're just praying for the best. The way it looks right now, the children look like they're good. Of course, they're going to be going through a lot of examinations and stuff. But we got the suspect in custody, and that suspect's going to be facing many, many charges.
And on the right side of the screen, right there, the crash. One more
again.
time, how the pursuit comes to an end. The suspect gets out right away, within seconds, really, jumping out of this car and running up into the hill. And as Dave mentioned, leaving these 3 children, these 3 small children, including a baby, inside that car as officers try to catch up to them and to this person here, and they did tonight.
Didn't take a second to even check on the kids, Susie. He took off running, and he did what he could to get away from officers. But, at the end of the day, as they say, the chickens come to roost, and they definitely got the guy in custody there. And it's a good thing that none of these homes along the beach that a lot of time leave windows and sliding doors open weren't available
Especially
to him
this time of year.
to be then holed up inside one of these homes. Here's when he threw his jacket out, and a short time after that, after jumping fences, he takes his shirt out. Takes his shirt off, rather. But again, it didn't take too long to get him into custody. No matter what he did to evade officers, they had eyes on the sky. Plenty of officers in the community, and he is now under arrest.
Yeah, and it's curious, as you mentioned, Juan, why he was barefoot. It kind of adds to the whole desperation of everything. You know, when he first got into this car and stole it, was he wearing shoes, or was he in a situation where he had to get away quick, and so
Yep.
he didn't care about that?
And Susie, you did stories. We've all done stories about the deaths that have happened along PCH, just how dangerous that stretch of road can be. And here's another example of why that is. When you speed, when you go that quickly, even if it wasn't a pursuit, somebody going at that high rate of speed could have created just as much damage and injury.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's incredible. The construction along PCH, you know, has definitely winding down, and the opening of PCH once again, I mean, that was huge, obviously. The fact that, you know, that it's mostly over, it's a big situation. You know, on the right side of the screen, what you're looking at is when the suspect tried to get away multiple times before the ground units were actually there right behind him. This is initially when he's just trying to get away before he even took his shirt off. This is just climbing fences and just trying to get as far away from that scene as possible.
And even though it's very dark on the left side of your screen, we believe that could be the suspect on the ground. I'm not sure if that was what I was being told, but you can see, yeah, it looks like there's again, it's a faraway shot, but it looks like there's somebody without perhaps a shirt on the ground there.
Yeah, again, this is breaking news here on KCAL News, an early edition of KCAL News at 8. A pursuit coming to an end with a crash, and the pursuit suspect evading police, running away on foot, as you can see on the right side of your screen. But police did eventually catch up to him. The CHP and the LAPD both involved in this chase tonight, and had many units behind this person because of the fact that there were 3 kids. We initially thought 2, but it turns out there were actually even 3 children inside this car, a baby and 2 young kids. Who are all accounted for tonight, thank goodness. But Juan, again, the question is, how did this all start? You know, did this suspect come out of nowhere while a mom or dad was just, you know, stepping inside a convenience store real quick, you know, maybe grabbing a drink and left the kids in the car, you know, the car running for a minute? Or did he carjack somebody
It's
with
a
a
warm
weapon?
night, right? Well, it happened on Olympic and Rowan. That's what we're being told. It was in East LA. Was it a convenience store? Did the parent, could it have been in the driveway of their home? They have the car running with the AC on because it's a warm night, right? They want to keep their kids cool. And this suspect, this guy, took it as a crime of opportunity, saw it, and jumped into the car there and took off with the kids inside. Dave, you're saying yes to that, so I'm sure you've heard all of it in your line of work.
Yeah, quite a bit. But just like I had alluded to earlier, you know, you get a hostage situation and a pursuit. It's emphasized that, you know, the safety of the hostage must be the primary consideration in determining the tactics, and that's what we were all talking about earlier. You know, what kind of tactics do you do? But you negotiate with this type of suspect. But you know, always remembering that, you know, the primary consideration is for the in this case kids, which even makes it worse. But you know, any type of kidnap's bad. But it's just the fact that these were children. It just changes the whole dynamics, and so I think that's why we had followed it, especially when it was doing 40 miles per hour, maybe 45, 50. But then all of a sudden he kicked up the speed, and sadly enough, that's when the one vehicle legally was entering the intersection and ended up getting hit by the suspect, who was just doing nothing but merely trying to get away and get free.
Look at that, Dave. They're taking him away. They're basically dragging him into the back of the police car there. We got a chance to see a couple of glimpses of him when they had the flashlight on him. He was on the ground, handcuffs to the back, and he looked kind of limp, right?
Yeah, and he looked like he was injured. I do believe I saw some blood there on the ground where he was sitting, and he was sitting there for a while.
He may have fallen.
Or from the actual impact of the crash. You know, we do often see, as you've seen, Dave, suspects get into a crash, and you think that they would be incapacitated, but they just run with that adrenaline. And later, whatever happened to them catches up with them, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if he hit his head, you know, the head, it bleeds profusely. I mean, it's the worst place to take an injury. So he may have eaten that the steering wheel. The other thing, too, is remember, we seen him what we were calling barbed wire. That's bad enough, but it may have been concertina wire, which is nothing but a razor wire. So he may, if he went over that type of stuff, yeah, he was going to tear himself up pretty bad because it is razor wire. So that may have been it also.
So we have word that, Dave, that the LA County Fire is sending a chopper over there. Is that for ground transportation? I mean, for transportation, like an air vac situation? What could that be for?
It's probably for the, because they're so far, they're way out there, as we well know, that they may bring that bird in and set it down and load up the children and just take them over to
That makes
the
sense.
hospital, over to UCLA is usually where they go, UCLA Medical.
Yeah.
It's usually where they end up taking them. So, but yeah, that's a long, long drive in the back of an RA unit. And for the viewers, RA means rescue ambulance. So I keep saying police stuff, but they may not understand. But yeah, I believe that's what they're doing. I believe that's what it is.
And Dave, they wouldn't be taking them to Children's Hospital Los Angeles, right? I guess the closest trauma center would be UCLA.
It would be. It would be. Yes, I think that's the one. And it's got a huge pad up on top, as we've seen before in other cases. But I believe that would be the closest one. I don't think they had taken the children's. So even in helicopter, that's a long flight.
Yeah.
This one here, by the time they land, they load them up, secure them. They get the paramedics on top of them, make sure they're secured, IVs, whatever they need. And hopefully it's not that bad.
So Dave,
And then they lift up off the ground when they get over there.
So Dave, it looks like most likely the kids are being stabilized inside the the emergency vehicle that you see right there. They're being taken care of, maybe an IV or whatever they need, just to calm them down and until that helicopter arrives, right?
Oh, certainly. Certainly. You know, they're talking to the children. They're children, so they're, you know, talking to them like you would to any child. You say, you're going to be okay. And usually in an incident like that, though, you hold their hand and just say, you know, hi, I'm Dave.
Yeah.
I'm a police officer. I'm Dave, or I'm a firefighter
Right.
on my team. So, you know, just to calm down, make it personal with them.
Absolutely. I mean,
That's where
what
they
they've
calm
been
down.
through. On that note, we want to welcome our viewers now to KCAL News at 8. This has been breaking news for the past half hour or so. We've been following this chase that ended in a crash. It was a pursuit, with the LAPD and the CHP actually chasing this person down PCH, and then for many miles, and then the car actually crashing along PCH, crashing into a car, and then coming to an end right
There it is.
Right there is when they crashed. And we do believe that's when there were 3 children inside this car, and the suspect takes off running, not even caring about those children that he
Not
left
at all.
behind, and the kids still inside that car while he's jumping fences, going through people's backyards there near the Point Dume area, and trying to get away from police.
And a short time ago, we did see him in custody. Susie, you noticed, may have seen some blood. My guess is, and we thought maybe when he was going up and over that razor wire, he may have been cut. So that's what's our guess.
That's right. He was doing that for a while, hopping over fences, and he was doing it with all that adrenaline. But it looks like the ambulance is now leaving the scene, and we do believe.
Well, Pepperdine is nearby, right? So they have a large grassy area out front. Maybe that would be the location where the helicopter would land to then take the kids away.
Sure. There's a helipad at Zuma Beach that they're going to be landing there on.
Oh, is that where they're going? Okay.
And that's where they will be transported from, which we often see along, accidents from PCH. But again, 3 children accounted for, their conditions unknown at this hour. But we did see them coming out of the car safely in the arms of the law enforcement officials there. We do have our Lauren Posen on the ground, who's also been chasing this chase, and she has this update for us now. Lauren, what can you tell us?
Susie, Juan, we just got here about 5 minutes ago, and what you're looking at now is the end of the pursuit where the crash happened. You can see that silver car there. That was the pursuit car, and you can see there was just 3 other cars involved here as well. There's an Audi SUV in the front, and then a Bug, and then another car right behind it there. Looks to be really severely damaged. I do see that there's someone in the car firefighters are talking to here. To give you some perspective, again, we're right at the Point Dume Road intersection here, right off of PCH. Traffic is backed up for quite a ways over here as well. As we were making our way up, all the fire trucks were coming by. We're still working to get some details here to learn about if anyone's hurt. I did see one person being taken away on being put into the ambulance, but it is just still a very active and moving scene here. And you see the deputies there directing traffic. We were actually over by the Malibu pier, and we saw this car flying down right by us on PCH, right by the pier there, and tons of sheriff's deputies' cars following right behind. He was going incredibly fast. Again, as we've been learning, there are 3 children in the car, not related to the driver. Still trying to get exactly from officials what exactly happened here. We know it took place in East Los Angeles, but just a very frightening situation. The people around here, I was asking if they saw the end of the crash, and none of these folks saw it. But just, you can't imagine what those kids were thinking inside that car as this was going on. Just incredibly a scary situation. You see all the fire trucks here. They're still working on this crash scene here, trying to get it cleared up and get it safe for everyone. But that's what it's looking like over here right now.
Yeah, no doubt, Lauren, that area there is going to be very busy and closed down for at least for the rest of tonight as they try to figure out what's going on and document the entire situation.
Hey, Lauren, you said that you saw one of the children being loaded into one of the ambulances. Did you get a look about how old they might be?
Susie, clarifying that, it wasn't a child. I saw a person. I don't know. I wasn't able to see if they were older or younger or not. I saw a person being put into a stretcher into the ambulance there, and then they took them away. And here's another ambulance coming right here, too. So it's a very fluid situation out here. Tons of first responders, deputies. I also saw firefighters with looked like to be like a saw of some sort, probably trying, perhaps someone's trapped in one of these vehicles. We're just a little too far away to see. I do see glass on the ground as well. Just incredibly, and you know what's so ironic about all this is it's Labor Day weekend, and there are tons of law enforcement here in Malibu patrolling for the holiday as well. So I'm not quite sure what this driver thought he was going to get away with here, but there are tons of law enforcement here in Malibu because of the holiday. So that's a very positive thing. Perhaps that's why they were able to stop it here. But just wanted to mention that as well. There's a big law enforcement presence because of the weekend holiday.
Yeah, we can see that presence there, Lauren, and of course, all the smashed up cars, that driver, that kidnapping pursuit suspect hit several cars before crashing himself, and you can see just the damage he has left behind here. All right, if you're looking there on the left side of your screen, that is that LA County Firehawk that we were telling you about that is about to land there at Zuma Beach to whisk these children to most likely UCLA Medical Center there to get treated for their injuries. It's one of the, the top-notch trauma centers on the west side of town there. And we're hoping that the injuries are not too severe, but it's best to get them the help that they need right away.
Yeah, that Firehawk from the LA County Fire Department going to be landing at the helipad there in Zuma Beach there right along PCH, and that's when those children from the ambulance will be loaded into that chopper and taken, as Juan mentioned, to UCLA Medical Center. But
so dark out there,
it's
Susie,
so
right?
dark out there, exactly. And when this crash actually happened, when police were looking or still chasing the suspect on foot, they were looking in light. Thank goodness there was still sunlight out, because it would be very difficult to find somebody in this darkness, Juan, out there.
Yeah, look, Susie, you can see some of that backwash there starting to lift off the ground, so that the chopper's going to be landing shortly. And what a story for these children, right? They were kidnapped by a stranger, and now strangers are helping them, right?
Yeah,
they're going to know the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. And right now they're getting so much help to get the help that they need. And I can only imagine what the parents are thinking. I'm sure there are officers with them right now, maybe taking them to the hospital. Just a horrific Friday night.
Right. I mean, again, the circumstances unclear right now as to exactly how this went down. Were they taken from a convenience store when the car was still on? Their mom or dad went inside the store real quick to grab something to drink or something and came back out, which is often the case, which we see often in these cases. Did the kidnapper know that he had children inside the car? If there's a child sitting in the front seat, which we do believe was the case, this person clearly knows that there are occupants inside this car when they are getting in, but were they so desperate to steal that car that he didn't care who was inside?
One child you may miss, but 3 and 1 in a car seat, I think it's very hard to miss. And I'm sure they became loud, they were confused. And at that point, this driver, who was not of right mind, should have just gotten out of the car and left it. But we saw what happened here. This all started, folks, at 6:41 tonight at Olympic in Rowan. This was in East LA, so you can just imagine in a very short amount of time the amount of distance that this driver was able to, and there's that crash again, cover. So from East LA, made it all the way to PCH and Point Dume Road there in the Point Dume area. And that is the focus right now of a rescue effort, of a rescue attempt. And we do know that that driver who we see running here in video that was shot earlier is now in custody.
It's true. You know, it makes you think, you know, how much one person caused tonight, you know, the number of victims that we're talking about here, let alone, I mean, the 3 children inside this car, then the person that he crashed into. It's unclear how many people were inside that car. We believe 1 or 2. I mean, obviously 1, but we believe up to 2. And there were some other cars that were affected as well when he crashed into that car, sending that car into other cars. So a lot happened after this, a whole chain reaction of events after this person decided to bring this to an end, or decided, or, you know, accidentally brought it to an end, trying to evade police. But again, our hearts out going out to these children tonight. That's our biggest concern, obviously. You know, with the parents, the family of these children who are obviously I'm going to be very shaken for the next, you know, I can't even imagine how long, you know, after this has happened. And, you know, the children inside this car who were probably, you know, being told to be quiet, or who knows, you know, the chaos that must have been ensuing inside that car with the baby probably crying too, perhaps agitating the suspect even more, who knows, you know, causing that person to drive faster or more erratically. But it's just a nightmare all around when you think about what happened here. Right? Absolutely.
And we're being told another helicopter is also headed there, another rescue helicopter, to this very scene. So I'm guessing maybe the 3 kids can go together. I wonder if there's another person who's seriously injured, the one that Lauren was saying that they may be using the jaws of life to pull that person, extract that person from the car. So as you were saying, one person creating so much havoc on a Friday night of a holiday weekend when a lot of families tend to go to the beach or spend just some time together barbecuing, the official end of summer, as we call Labor Day. And now basically it's gonna end up in a hospital stay for these kids for maybe a night, hopefully just a night, but maybe into tomorrow. And just heartbroken parents too, that they're gonna feel defeated, that they left their kids for a second and this happened.
Sure, and just, you know, what could have happened, and just the thoughts of that. But the good news, if there is any tonight in all of this, is the fact that the 3 children are accounted for. We did see the CHP officers there on the ground bring the children, each one of them, every single one of them, 1, 2, 3, bring them out of the car and into the ambulances that are waiting, as you see on the right side of your screen there now, the center of your screen, as those firefighters get ready to transport them to the LA County Firehawk that is standing by now at Zuma Beach on the helipad there to take them to probably UCLA Medical Center.
And you can just see how dark it is there. There are fire crews there using their flashlights to guide people in. This is Zuma Beach where the helipad is. And here comes that second Firehawk, we believe, headed right to Zuma Beach to take the victims of this crash to get medical help. And Dave, you're still on the phone with us, yeah? Is he still there? Okay, we don't have Dave. But you know, he was saying earlier, Susie, it's incredible that even though you'd think, wow, they're just waiting for the helicopter, it's still a shorter ride in the helicopter once it gets there and takes them to the hospital versus trying to take them up PCH to Westwood.
That's right. This is a common scene that we see along PCH at Zuma Beach when there is trauma and where there are trauma victims. We often see this medevac situation where they bring the chopper in and get them out of there faster, obviously, as Juan was talking about, going through those hillsides all the way up and down the hill and over, you know, across the 405 freeway could take a lot of time, and it's not time that they have in many situations like this, where there could be a patient whose, you know, life is clearly in danger after a situation like this. Again, we don't know the conditions of the children. Again, we saw them being pulled out one by one out of that car by the CHP, but their conditions unknown tonight, being brought out on stretchers one by one and being transported into or taken into the ambulance there, that waiting for transport now with the chopper.
Clearly, based on what we're seeing, the kids have some sort of injury, right? Hopefully, it's not a life-threatening injury, because I think we would see a very different situation here. And it looks like, Susie, are they
like
taking
the
those
first
firefighters? Are they taking the first child to the helicopter?
It's hard to know if this is a child or if it was one of the victims from the other car that was affected by the crash at the end of the pursuit. But again, as we were talking about, we do believe there are multiple victims that will be transported tonight.
We're looking at it right there. That first Firehawk that arrived about 5 minutes or so ago, the first victim being loaded up into the helicopter there. They're going to be taken to UCLA Medical Center in the Westwood area, right by UCLA there. And looks like the first of the 3 children are being loaded up into the helicopter.
You know, we didn't want to see this. This is the last, ending that we wanted to see, how this pursuit came to an end, in a crash. Obviously, the children scared just from the pursuit itself, and a stranger taking the car that they were riding in with their mom or dad perhaps, and taking off in it and taking them to somewhere, they have no idea where they're going. It's unclear what, happened inside the car, but you can only imagine the fear, the anticipation of what could happen next for these kids, just how frightening that must have been for them. And, then ending in this crash. We often see that happen, but with just the pursuit suspect inside and not so many victims along with that pursuit suspect. And, these children inside the car, one being a baby inside a car seat even. You can imagine the baby crying when that crash happened. You can just imagine it inside your head. You don't want to, but our hearts really go out to these children tonight just because of what they went through.
It's bad for adults and worse for children when the world seems so big to them too, right?
Sure, sure. Well, if you're just joining us here on KCAL News at 8, this is an end of a pursuit that came to a crashing end along PCH. On PCH and Point Dume there at the intersection, the driver of the pursuit vehicle right there crashes into a car, sending that into other cars, and the pursuit suspect's vehicle crashing on the other side of the street into the curb. That pursuit suspect getting out of the car within seconds, you see them under the trees there, under the canopy of trees, and running away from police. There were no units there on the ground chasing him right when he did crash, but we did see them arriving shortly thereafter. This is what he did. He went, climbed through over fences until he landed into some backyards of some people who live in the Point Dume area, and he took his shirt off. He had no shoes on, obviously very desperately running away from police. And then eventually we heard that the ground units there had caught up to him, and now he is under arrest.
Yeah, he came very close to maybe getting into those properties there, but CHP was able to get him in custody. We believe that he was somewhat injured there. So the rescue operation here, or not the rescue operation, getting these kids to the hospital is going to be continuing as we speak.
All right, we're going to continue to follow this breaking news here on KCAL News throughout the night, so be sure to keep it right here.